Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today I'm doing a review of the 8th Doctor collector set from Character Options. This retails for $21.99, I'm pretty sure, and it's also a B&M exclusive. It's hitting retailers across England predominantly at the moment. It's the 4th of October 2022 that I'm recording this video, and yeah, I just thought, as I often do, that I'd review this set and see what I think of it. Yeah, first off we have in chronological order I've put them in, and if you've noticed why there's two of each, it's because it's because I have all three of the original figures, but these are basically these new ones that are in front of the older ones are basically the ones in the new set, and they are basically just repaints, and that, so I'll get into in depth a bit more about what my thoughts are. Articulation, you've got side to side on the head, or maybe even a full 360. This one's hand does often pop out, which is a bit annoying. So yeah, that is to bear in mind. Some of your figures might have hands that pop out, or are very loose, which is definitely a detractor in my book. But yeah, it's odd. It's not. I also got these figures so that the original one's out, so I could compare them. This one's more metallic than the other one. It's odd. On camera, it might be a bit even shinier, or maybe the lighting it makes it shinier. In hand, it's not as shiny, but it is definitely metallic. You've got this sort of metallic bronze wash over the jacket that used to just be grey, and the old one had the silver chain. So does this one, this new one, but it does feel like it's lost quite a bit of detail. However, one plus side, the jacket or the watch bit has lost detail, but one plus side, I suppose, is that the pants, the trousers, even if I can get my words out, have got that sort of the new 4th Doctor even, sort of brown speckled effect on the trousers. The shoes are brown now, I think, whereas on the original one they were this black glossy black. I don't know which one is more screen accurate to the 1996 TV movie. However, I think on both figures he has quite dark eyes, original figure, but then on the new one his eyes are even way darker, which is kind of ironic considering the next figures are from the box set, the Big Finish audio box set, Dark Eyes. So, but and they don't have dark eyes, whereas 1996 TV movie McGann does. But yeah, definitely a bit of a disappointment that there's no sonic screwdriver included, either with the TV movie one or the Paul McGann from Night of the Doctor. I can understand why they didn't do one for Dark Eyes, because that one is very expensive, or would be very expensive to tool, because it would have to be a completely new tooling. Honestly, I quite like this figure, and I think this one's a good one because it's very rare to get. The original one is very rare to get now, because it was exclusive to the original 11 Doctors set, which I was fortunate enough to have got back in the day. So yeah, decent figure. The rest of the articulation is as standard, really. Waist articulation, knees can, make him look down. Sort of swivels and stuff. Again, some hands might be a bit loose, so be careful when swiveling them, I suppose. And the head does move side to side and up a bit, I suppose, but down, not non-existent on the down motion or movement down in terms of the head on the new figure, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, it's a must-have for new collectors, and even old collectors, because again, the chances are quite a lot of people have missed out on the original Eighth Doctor one, as I said earlier. So yeah, who are we moving on to next? Mr. Paul McGann again. Paul McGann again. They should really do like a new boy band where it's all just 3 versions of Paul McGann as the Eighth Doctor in a band. But jokes aside, yeah, now you've got the Dark Eyes Eighth Doctor even. I think the coolest addition here is, of course, the satchel bag, which we've all been wanting from day one, really. I genuinely cannot get into my head why we have it now but not then, you know? I guess the cynic in me, you could argue, well, maybe they could have done that, but they just held off on doing it because they knew they could get away with doing that, if that makes sense. And then, of releasing this later with this version, they had that in mind from day one, as opposed to just giving us what we wanted, you know, if that makes sense. Yeah, very, very dark black leather jacket, more of an Eccleston-like jacket. Honestly, I'd say the head sculpt on the new one is far better than the original one. However, I much prefer the sort of, I don't know if it's showing on camera, but the sort of, that's the new one, that's the old one. This one in hand is actually a dark blue. I know in camera it comes across as very dark blue, but this is practically black. It's that dark. And as I say, and even the buttons on the jacket are a sort of darker bronze, whereas on this one they're lighter. So honestly, I might just do this and get the old one and have him with the bag. Because overall, I kind of prefer this one, the old one. And as I say, then the boots are really black as well, whereas they were brown on the original one. It's just a shame. I wish I was able to swap heads with these ones, because again, the new head sculpt is a lot more favourable. Looks a lot more like McGann, whereas the old one not as much, I don't think. I mean, it's definitely not the better one of the two, I don't think. Old one, new one, you know. But I think that's my major gripe. It's weird with that one, with the first set of McGanns, I'd say I'm starting to like the newer one better than the original, whereas I'm the other way around with the Dark Eyes one. I'd say the original one, for the most part, is better, but the new one, and the new one is the weaker one, which is weird because I honestly thought the when I got these in hand, I'd prefer the new Dark Eyes, and vice versa. Still like the older TV movie figure, and not like the new one as much. But the new one has definitely grown on me. But either way, I think both of those are pretty goddamn good for 8th Doctor character options figures, at least. But as I say, with the Dark Eyes one, I'd say if you can, try and track down the original one, and then just buy one of the satchel bags maybe on eBay. I'm trying to think, satchel bags, accessories, maybe an Indiana Jones figure. I mean, Hasbro have just announced a new 6-inch Harrison Ford / Indiana Jones even figure, so maybe you could get that. And I think it'd be too expensive to get 2 just for them to get the satchel bag, actually, thinking about it. But anyway, last but not least, is the Night of the Doctor, 8th Doctor. Yeah, or some people were even thinking maybe the Time Lord Victorious 8th Doctor, because this new one was coming across like it had a lot more of a blue sort of jacket, whereas on in hand, again, this is a very dark sort of green blackish sort of colour, very dark. The boots are also very dark repaint, and instead of the sort of bronzy colour jacket, it's a sort of more goldish, yellowy goldish jacket. But again, he has that sort of waistcoat, even not jacket, waistcoat, and then he has like the the sort of light bluish sort of coat instead of green in the Time Lord Victorious stuff. But again, this is not blue. If anything, if I felt comfortable and confident enough to paint this, I'd actually consider painting this and doing a custom painting it blue, so that way it is kind of more verging on the Time Lord Victorious one. But again, a good figure originally, a good figure, a decent, good, even really good articulation for a character options figure. You know, head moves side to side, maybe not full 360 because of the scarf. Legs do this. Waist, there is waist articulation, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you can move his waists from side to side a bit. Again, legs and feet do move as well. Obviously, the feet are just one big boot. And that, which, yeah. Originally, if I'm not mistaken, one of my friends way back when pointed out that it was a horse riding shoe, that actually it's a shoe and then this is like a horse riding thing, and then that's the shoe, of course, the bit at the bottom, but it's not actually like a boot, basically. It kind of looks like that and everyone thinks that this is a boot, but as I say, it's not. But yeah. Again, much like with the Dark Eyes, I'm going to have to go and say that I prefer the original release myself. But again, this on its own, regardless of whether or not it's this one or the one in the, not the 11 Doctor set, but whatever the sequel version of that was with the jam on his face, either version of this figure goes ridiculous money on eBay, anywhere between, like, he's one of the rarest, or if not rarest, single released figures. He's up there probably with like the War Doctor, I assume. But he goes for like £50 to £100, which is just ridiculous for one action figure. In the character options range, it's just mental. But I guess the plus side to re-releasing this, even if it's a figure you don't buy, it means that for the people who do want to buy this figure, they don't have to go to the scalpers and waste £50 to £100 on just one figure. Do you know what I mean? So, if you're new to collecting the action figures, or are a completionist or whatever else, you know, you don't have to get the original version. You can always try and get this one, which, as I say, is now more accessible. Even though, as I say, I think this one looks better, the original one. The blue and the greens are just... The green and the blue and the bronze really sort of contrast with each other a lot more, I guess. Yeah, and the brown boots. You've got brown boots there, whereas you've got almost this sort of creamy, sort of dark cream brown poo colour on the new one. I don't know, but... Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting set. I think it's the strongest of the 2 3-packs we've got this year, definitely. I think it's, as I say, the better one, but who really was asking for this? I don't know. But to be fair, I suppose, as Matthew Toffolo, also known as Batman March Online, has pointed out, we were getting a bit spoilt, I suppose, with newer figures in the last few years, you know, with Vord and Sensorites and then Mechanist Daleks as exclusives and this, that and the other. So I guess it was inevitable that we'd get more of a, for lack of a better term, peg warmer of a figure set here and there, you know, moving forward. But I suppose as fans, we just didn't think that that would be the case, you know. But yeah, I think this one's definitely the better one of the 3-packs, I think. I mean, then again, part of me is like, but I prefer the 8th Doctor as opposed to 10, or the 10th Doctor, I suppose. I mean, I think David Tennant's a phenomenal actor, but I just think the 10th Doctor's a bit much sometimes. But that's by the by. The point being that this set's a brilliant set for new collectors. But I mean, genuinely, if you've got all 3 of the original figures, like I have, this might be a pass. This one might be a miss. So yeah, So to people's disbelief, I'm not as much of a shill for character options as you might think. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please do comment, rate, and subscribe to the channel.